Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. This is episode 299.
Woo! On sale now.
We are on the precipice of greatness, or something. I am Caitlin, and joining me today are
Jake,
Chris,
And Ames. That wasn't awkward at all.
No,
it was really good. We've done 299 episodes. He still doesn't know who he says his name after.
It's confusing when we're remote.
Also, we've lived here for 11 years, and he doesn't quite get the light switches yet, too. So, it's fine. Don't worry about it. There are more important things to know.
There are 4 light switches.
Actually, there are 3. There's 3 right there. So I get it. It is confusing. Anyway, enough about light switches. More about Star Trek. So today, just to switch things up, we decided to talk about 2 episodes of Star Trek The Voyager. We'll be discussing Memorial and Tsunkatse. In Memorial, all your favorite boys are on an away mission for 2 weeks where they go and visit 15 planets and just absolutely rape them of their resources. We've got Neelix, Harry Kim, we got Tom Paris, we got Chakotay, the tattooed terror. More on that later, I know. Fucking stupid. Anyway, they're on a away mission, they get a bunch of dilithium, I guess, or something like that, and they get home, and the doctor's like, hey, you guys want to have your physicals since you were away? And they're like, nah, fuck you, though. But he probably was right, because everybody starts having some weird stuff going on. B'Elanna makes Tom a television set, and he starts watching a war movie, and suddenly he's having flashbacks to a war that he doesn't remember fighting. Harry Kim is doing some adjusting in a Jeffries tube and starts having claustrophobia. Neelix is cooking in the... Oh, shit. What do they call
Mess
it?
hall.
Mess hall?
No, but the name of the actual kitchen. Tuvok used it this episode.
Galley?
Galley.
Kitchen.
Neelix is cooking in the galley, and Naomi comes by to ask him for some celery and carrots. I guess she's having some buffalo hot wings. And, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. I'm just kidding, I was. Anyway, when she is ready to leave, he freaks out and takes her, I'm not exactly hostage, he's actually trying to protect her, but he's trying to fight off other people thinking that they're going to hurt her. And finally, Chakotay is having lots of really weird wet dreams. No, that's not right. He's having nightmares, again, about battle that he doesn't remember fighting.
Dry dreams.
Extremely dry. So what the fuck is going on? Interesting that it's just happening to these 4, isn't it? So what's going on is they are experiencing PTSD symptoms, and they decide to go back to all the planets that they visited along their away mission. And one of them has, basically the planet is shining. The people who left it, who lived there before, set up a big monument to put this horrible war and its outcomes into the minds of passersby, probably as like some kind of misguided, like, peace attempt, like a war is bad kind of thing. But like, instead of just doing, getting all the pop songs of the world together and, making some music about it, or, instead of having The War Is Over by John Lennon, or, every song ever played in a Vietnam film, they put out this, what did you call it? An obelisk? Obelisk. They put out an obelisk that makes you experience their war. That's it. That's the episode. Ultimately, they're like, we could stop this from happening. And Janeway's like, no, I love when people get PTSD for no reason. Making as good a choice as the time she killed Tuvix.
No, I loved this choice. I thought that the choice to leave it up was actually, like, very thought-provoking.
No, it's a bad idea.
It's literally thought-provoking.
Exactly.
For people that come near that planet.
Yeah, no, it's there's no consent involved. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not really
buoy.
thought-provoking, it's like thought-forcing, but...
Well, right. Starfleet, Voyager put out a buoy. The original people didn't, and that's pretty shitty.
So here's the question, though. Who is worse, these people or the Resicans? Because they basically do the same thing.
Wait, fuck, which one are the Resicans again?
Who are the Resicans?
Inner light.
Inner light.
Oh.
It's basically the same thing, and they're both going to leave you equally emotionally damaged, I would think.
Yeah, but with those other guys, it's kind of like a choose your own trauma adventure, not a.
I mean, at least with the Resicans,
you get a cool flute.
Yeah, I was about to say you get a lot of emotional baggage, but you do learn how to play a tiny flute.
Yes.
Well, I mean, a lot of like people in armies will play instruments. So maybe Harry Kim or Paris have picked up the harmonica since being there. We don't know.
Oh, okay.
Just because we don't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. That's all I'm saying.
It'd be great if, like, in the hallucination, like Harry Kim, as they're all sitting around after the massacre, he just like whips out his clarinet,
plays taps.
Yeah. Oh God.
On clarinet.
Nice.
Okay, let me explain why I like the ending. Okay, there's a great scene earlier in the episode when Neelix suffering from this PTSD hard because, he's already got tons of emotional baggage.
Yeah, of all people to have to...
The poor fucking thing.
Yeah.
Seven comes to him, and in the most tactful way he can, which was good on him, he says, Seven, you've probably experienced shit like this as someone who, experiences guilt trip all the time for all the assimilating you did. And she's like, yep, I sure assimilated millions of people. How do you deal with it? And she says, well, you don't ignore it. You use it. If I didn't have those memories, I wouldn't be trying to do much more good today because if they were wiped, I wouldn't have the context. And when in the final scene, Neelix pipes up and says, why should we erase this? Then no one will know about it anymore. Reading it on the side of a Confederate statue or something, let's say. Memorial statues don't work effectively. You don't understand what the context is. And he says that this is why we should learn from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, there's no consent involved, and that's where I draw the line. It's like you get a little too close to this planet, and congratulations, you got PTSD.
Well, these people didn't have consent when they were murdered by the Nakan.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Chris on this one. I don't think that the people on that planet really have the right to inflict their societal trauma on other people.
How do you tell the story then?
You have a museum. You have a plaque.
You don't learn. You can't learn this from a museum.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's take like some atrocity from human history.
Holocaust. Just go for it. It's a
Jesus
Holocaust.
Christ. Okay,
well,
fine.
I mean, that's the worst fucking thing I can think of.
Exactly. I mean, this is okay. So let's take the Holocaust, right? Like, you can learn about the Holocaust. Like, I don't think anybody who supports educating people on the Holocaust and informing people about the Holocaust would also be like, yeah. We're going to teach people about the Holocaust by putting them in, a death camp and making them work and, leading them, to the gas chambers and whatnot. Like, I don't think that's like that. Yeah, sure. They would learn about the Holocaust doing it that way, but I don't think that that's really an effective educational conceit, right?
Yeah, like you can know something is bad without having experienced it yourself. Now, would you feel it more strongly through this psychic invasion? Sure, but no. Just no.
I guess I have two questions. Was the monument built by the people that did the massacring or the people who were left from the massacre?
There were no people left from the massacre.
But none at all, right?
They killed them all.
So I kind of feel like it sort of feels like bad in a bad spirit for these people to be like, look at this horrible thing we did and now we get to torture everybody else with it as well.
I don't think it was necessarily the people that perpetrated the massacre that put it up. I'm gonna go out here and guess that the people that put up the monument were like the countrymen of the people that were massacred.
And how do they have the memories of the people who were involved?
That's kind of what I was wondering.
Here's how I would guess this went down. This massacre was just part of a larger war, right?
Probably, yeah.
There's this other war going on. Eventually, the people who were on the side of the war of the massacred villagers, eventually that side does win. And they capture and try for war crimes the perpetrators of the massacre. So all the people that we're living their experiences with are people that were like captured by the side of the victims of the massacre. And then they're put into some kind of memory sucking device that like extracts the memories of the massacre. It's probably like part of their trial even.
That's interesting.
Well, it also
look at the memories and be like, "Oh yeah, you're fucking guilty."
It even just could have just as well been because we know that at least one of them, whoever's memories Janeway was getting, was already like, "What the fuck are you doing? We can't do this." They could have
we can't erase it.
Gotten home.
Maybe, for all we know, the Janeway character is the one that ratted out the other ones.
That's about to say they get home and are like, "So this happened."
Yeah. Savdra's going to claim this didn't happen, but here, wipe my memory. Like, take my memories, put them in an obelisk, and I'll prove to you that they did.
Yeah, and a classic sort of imperialism thing where it's like, we done fucked up, let's build a memorial and pretend that makes it okay.
But here's the other thing. If it's on... here's why I think it was potentially the side of the massacrees. Massacred? I don't know.
The dead people.
The dead people. Is that we don't know. Like, we can't... How can we trust that this is legit, that this is real, and not some kind of propaganda?
I was kind of thinking the same thing. We don't know who made it, and you could totally have really strong what's that episode called?
The Inner
Living
Light.
Witness vibes or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where it's just like, yeah, here's our history. It's like, that guy you're deifying was a prick.
Well, exactly. Like, we already have an example in Voyager of this exact thing happening where history is told by the victors, right? So in that, or I guess in that case, it was they were not told by the victors, but they were deifying a shithead.
Yeah.
But basically, how could we trust that the side of the story that we're getting through this magic obelisk is actually what happened?
Admittedly, although again I have no proof for this, my assumption was kind of that the truth was told by some of the soldiers who were there. Like, I kind of assumed this was basically what happened.
But we don't know that. And Janeway doesn't know that.
We don't. But I'm
this
just
could
saying
very well be just a propaganda film that is playing out, that is being used to make the I can't remember the name of the
Nakan.
The Nakan. Well, who are the people that
They're
were...
also Nakan.
Okay.
They're all the same race. They're colonists
that's what I
versus
thought,
military.
yeah.
Okay, to make the military look like shitheads.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is...
I think the thing is that, like, Janeway makes this decision to leave this thing on. When she makes that decision, she has to be absolutely convinced that this is a legitimate piece of history, because leaving it, if it was just a fiction, if it was just something that was made up to make the military look shitty,
it's someone's like podcast.
someone, or it's it's a holodeck simulation that somebody played. We don't know, and she doesn't know.
But she feels it. Like,
but she feels it.
She experienced it.
I feel like the right course of action here would have been maybe not shut it down, but just leave it. Maybe put your buoy out as a warning, but don't repair it, because then you're the best case scenario is you're inflicting this trauma on other people, for better or worse.
Well, and
worst case scenario is you're contributing to like a propaganda campaign that has been going on for centuries.
My thing is just, even if it's 100% legit, I'm still all for turning it off.
My thing is, if it's causing PTSD symptoms in people who are not involved, this could end up having a greater cost of life. Like, people who get PTSD sometimes self-harm. But
they're not going to genocide another race if they're PTSD'd out like this.
No, but I mean, if
but
Neelix,
they might genocide themselves.
Or Neelix could have killed Tuvok during his episode.
That's true. I mean, they did have, Neelix in particular had a violent outburst.
Which, oh my god, just emphasizes how great Ethan Phillips is as an actor.
Yeah, he's
was
great.
Really good.
Oh, he was great in that scene.
So good.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very dangerous technology.
Deeply.
Because, imagine if imagine if it wasn't this scenario, if it was just something that went into your head and convinced you that, gave you extreme paranoia about your, and made you want to kill people or something. Like it's anything that involuntarily manipulates the brain of another person is a violation. And I don't agree with Janeway allowing this to go on.
Can you think of a good example of using this kind of thing?
Something that involves consent.
Okay.
Yeah. Something where like you walk up to the planet and it's like, there's like, welcome to the Nakan Historical Society's
Traumatron 9000.
Interactive trauma
interactive memorial experience. Feel what it's like. Like, okay, so there's a fellow
no one
podcaster.
would agree to that though.
Well, right. Well,
exactly.
Okay. So there's a podcaster that does a lot of history podcasts that I used to listen to. I haven't listened to him in a long time, but Dan Carlin.
Right. Well, you don't have a commute anymore to listen.
That's true. But he does a lot of like really great in-depth history podcasts. And I recommend his history podcast. I don't necessarily recommend his current affairs. He has like a current events podcast as well, where it gets a little, yeah. I mean, he's like boomery, I guess. But anyway, he's really good, and his history podcasts are really good. But he did a collaboration, I think, with some World War I museum or Remembrance Society or something, where they did a VR world like experience the Battle of Verdun or some battle, some like I don't remember what battle it was, but some like horrific battle.
I mean, they were in World War I. They were all pretty fucking nasty.
Yeah. So it's like I haven't played it, but it's like a VR game, more like a VR experience. I don't think it's terribly interactive, where you just kind of experience what it was like to be a soldier in the trench, and shit goes off. And I think it might be narrated by Dan Carlin or something, but either way, you have to choose to play this game. And it's, if it's, I don't know how realistic it is, but if it's remotely realistic, I imagine that could cause some kind of trauma. If you're a military veteran who already has PTSD perhaps, then maybe you shouldn't play this game.
Oh, and if you were a military veteran that already had that kind of trauma, imagine flying by this planet.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, and the difference is that I can choose whether or not I want to play, Dan Carlin's World War I simulator. I can't choose if I want to experience the Nakan, massacre simulator.
Right, let me
imagine.
Or beige.
I'm gonna direct us a different way. So you finish.
Okay. Well, but imagine too, like Voyager had the time and resources and ability to figure out what the hell was going on.
Right.
Imagine someone who gets zapped by this thing, isn't able to figure it out, and really spends the rest of their life thinking they've done this. And have had their memory wiped and all.
Well, they said actually that the obelisk wasn't in its perfect
That's true.
state.
That seemed to be a part of its malfunction.
Yeah, if you experience it linearly in the right order, you would understand what this thing was meant to do.
Maybe.
So here's
for
my
all
question.
we know, it did start with a disclaimer.
Maybe,
True.
yeah.
Press play now. If press the consent button now. Whoops, that part is malfunctioning. But no, here's my question then, because I think this is what's at the core of this episode that I found the most interesting, and that's how do we learn about and remember our histories? And there's a little bit of the inner light in here too. I know Jake dubbed it the inner dark. Oh God. I know when we talked about the inner light, I think we brought up the fact that there's no other way to experience another culture than by experiencing that culture. How would anyone know what these people's day-to-day lives were if you looked at a little diorama in a museum? That doesn't tell you how they live. That doesn't tell you what they use for toilet paper in their bathrooms. Picard lived it. He knows. He knows about the 3 seashells.
Damn it, I was about to say that.
Ah!
Yeah, and in the event, in comparing it to a diorama in a museum is interesting, right? Because especially if we're talking about ancient cultures or extinct cultures, I guess they don't have to necessarily be ancient.
Yeah,
but,
this is 300 years ago, I think they said.
But cultures that aren't around anymore. On Earth today we have
documentaries.
we have like anthropologists, right, that try to study this stuff, and a lot of times they're inferring a lot. They're working from like
witness testimonies, which are riddled with
or like
lies.
like especially when we're talking about even older cultures, it's like, okay, well, we don't know shit about how these people live. We have, some pots, some like pot and pottery fragments, and we have some like ruins of their houses and things, but like we have to guess.
We also, as I know from my sister, will study their fossilized leavings to figure out their diet.
Yeah, exactly.
I loved eating
all
poop.
kinds of shit, right? I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. We can.
Ames. Sorry, did you hear what she said, Jake?
I did.
Okay,
did.
great. I just wanted to make sure. I'm so sorry.
Whoa, that's shocking from you, Jake.
You ignored a poop joke?
I know.
Who the hell are you?
Well, I mean, anyway, the point I was trying to make is just that we don't have the benefit of like a primary source for a lot of historical stuff, for a lot of ancient stuff, and that this is an interesting opportunity here that, as well as with the Resicans, right? Like they can leave basically not just primary source, but like it's not like primary source would be like, this is what the Resicans wrote down, or this is what the massacre people
this is
wrote
like
down
to the power of 0 instead of to the power of 1.
Exactly. This is no. You aren't reading what they wrote down. You are just them. You are the primary source.
You're writing it.
And like, so like I don't think there could be any historical documentation better than that in terms of like accuracy.
Yeah.
Assuming it hasn't been tampered with.
Yeah. I will say,
I think it is really cool.
I will say, though, that as far as the episode goes, like, the end bit in this sort of debate is interesting. Until we got to that point, I found the episode itself, I was mostly sitting here going, I feel like this is 3 different episodes we've seen before, just kind of stitched together.
I was thinking this was a lot like, remember the one where B'Elanna was having these kind of dreams about banging that boy there's lot?
There's a little bit of Remember, there's a little bit of that one where Chakotay was tricked into fighting a war.
Nemesis.
Nemesis. There's, like Jake said, a little bit of Inner Light.
A lot of Inner Light.
And so I was just kind of sitting around, and I was just like, this is familiar.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah. See, it's funny because I watched this one a couple weeks ago when we talked about our dream adventures for one of our blog activities. And I watched this episode just on my own without having read the synopsis first, which is a rarity for me.
Yeah.
And for the first half of it, I'm just like, it felt like those episodes verbatim exactly, and I'm just watching it along like, oh, this is going to just be another tedious explore memories adventure like we've done a bunch of times.
Yeah.
The moment Janeway gets sucked in, I like sat up and said, oh, this is interesting. And maybe it's because Mulgrew's performance in the we killed them all scene is really good, and I loved her in that moment.
Yeah.
But I became very interested by the end of, oh, wait, this isn't just a let's force memories on people. This is a looking at why we remember stuff kind of episode. And I'm all about that.
Well, we remember stuff through TV as well.
We do.
Yeah, nobody let Charlie Brooker watch this episode because like this honestly to me felt very Black Mirror.
Yeah, he's the Black Mirror guys for people who don't know.
Thank you. I was about to ask.
I was like, who?
Well, yeah, and because I'm just picturing now an episode of Black Mirror where like it opens with a war, and it's like a kid who's the soldier and doing horrible things, and the whole time you're thinking, oh my god, this child soldier thing is fucking a nightmare. And then the end of the episode, it like turns out that it was just like a museum display, and the kid was on a field trip.
That does sound very Charlie Brooker. Yeah, but I thought the Torres giving Paris a TV thing was
Such a mistake.
It was so cute though, because it's those kinds of moments that you're like, oh, this is why you guys are a couple, and it does pop up every so often that you're like, yeah, I like them, and then she regrets it immediately. I'm like, yep, that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah, no, totally. It's funny. We both recognized the cartoon too. Like we remember seeing that one before.
Oh, Daffy Duck and the Dinosaur.
Oh, is that what it was?
That's what it's called. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, because I remember, like, we had it on a tape when I was a kid. Like, I don't know how.
It's from 1939.
I was immediately annoyed because I was like, that dinosaur wouldn't have a bone. It's a Vegisaur.
Yeah, and I do like how she gave him a remote control for it, and then I was all ready to be like anachronistic, and then Tom was like anachronistic.
This is why we love you, Jake.
What's funny is though, because I realize it kind of looks like a Type 1 phaser, so it's like up, down, off, stun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Taurus
the pause button, Chris.
Taurus said, I knew you weren't going to want to stand up every time you wanted to change the channel, so.
I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, if she's going to go with the remote control, why stop
make
there?
it a good one.
Yeah, or make it voice controlled or something, Computer, change channel.
You only see it a couple times, but he has a really nice chair in his quarters in the background.
Oh,
too.
I'll have to take a look. I have
like a really nice.
My chair radar has been off.
It's like some kind of mid-century style
like
thing.
An Eames chair or something.
It's not that one. It's not the Fraser chair, but it feels like it's probably from the same era, roughly. Yeah. It's got a lamp. It's like, I mean, your history obsession is tedious sometimes, but you got decent taste.
When they first showed the inside of his quarters, and B'Elanna's like, I have a surprise for you. The first thing I saw was that fucking hideous cowboy boot lamp.
Yeah.
And I was like, did she make him like a fucking saloon? Is this gonna be some kind of stupid cowboy bullshit episode? I was so glad it wasn't. I was really unhappy for about 0.8 seconds.
So did Memory Alpha tell you what game the hockey footage was from?
Oh, no, it didn't. But it did make sure to mention that this is the first appearance of hockey in Star Trek.
Really?
Woo!
There's a TikToker that pops up on my feed every now and again who his whole specialty is identifying sports events that are on TVs in the backgrounds of other shows.
What a strange specialty!
And it is, and it's actually fucking amazing. Like this guy.
Send him this episode.
I wonder if he may have already even done this episode. But I've seen ones where it's people will challenge him. They'll be like, okay, this episode in the background of this episode of Law and Order or whatever, and it's literally a 2-second out of focus clip of say a hockey game, and he's like, okay, well, I can figure out from I can see that they're wearing red jerseys, so I know that, if it's NHL, it's probably, the Canadians or, and then he'll be like, yeah, but it can't be the NHL because the Canadians, would have had this, that, and literally he goes through and he finds the most obscure games because a lot of times they don't use actual NHL games.
Oh, I
use,
bet. Yeah, AHL or something.
Or not even that. They'll use real Bush League games, ECHL or things
or maybe
that.
A European League or something.
Right. So he has to basically go back and he'll find the most obscure from this is a game of the North Rochester Wild Hogs in 1976 and they were playing the Springfield Sprockets and and it's insane the resources this guy has.
Sponsored by Spacely.
So I'm actually now wondering if maybe he's already done this one. And
if he hasn't, you got to challenge him.
I will. I'll have to find him again because he only pops up every so often.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I love that Tom perked up when he saw a hockey game.
I thought you might.
Yeah, it was good.
I also liked that.
Yeah, every time he's like, ooh, hockey, ooh, cartoon.
Yeah.
So I kind of had this episode pegged for almost exactly what it was pretty early, I feel like.
Yeah, you actually hit it really fast.
I was like, okay, so this is some kind of shared phenomenon that they had because they passed by too close, and it seems like they have PTSD. I mean, I guess, maybe that's not that big of a stretch. But I will say that one of the things that made me really think that it was totally fake, or at least that it didn't really happen to them, is there's that part where they're like, no, it's cool, we're just relocating them. And Chakotay was totally cool with that. And I was like, that seems really unlikely for your character.
But he could have been brainwashed.
I don't know.
In Nemesis.
He could have been that brainwashed.
He was in Nemesis. Yeah, that's what I wonder. I wonder if they could have done a better job making you think maybe this is real and something did happen up until you see, no, there's no fucking way this could have happened because Janeway wasn't there.
Yeah.
We know where everybody was. It was only you four that were away.
Yeah. Well, I think once Janeway experiences it, that's when you know for sure that it's bullshit. Because it could have still been real, but they could have been brainwashed.
Oh, all together?
All together
Oh,
to
that's true.
participate in, like, you know, because there's, you know, like the other episode where Chakotay had to fight a war.
Yeah.
You know, he was brainwashed.
And we've seen whole crews forget who they are before in Conundrum?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say Killing Game when they were all in the holodeck.
That too.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see that type of thing again.
Jake
'cause
knows.
it's just, yes, I do know. Yeah, I have to say, I really enjoyed a lot of the acting. I think Ethan Phillips did a phenomenal job. I think McNeil in the scene where he has a episode and screams at B'Elanna, like I was like, holy shit!
Yeah, that is trauma.
That was a brutal fucking verbal assault he just laid on her. Wow, like well done, Robbie. You know,
Garrett Wong's like just
Well, that's just normal
Slow
Garrett Wong acting.
disintegration and breakdown.
This is nothing new for Harry.
Yeah, this is like every third episode of Voyager for him.
True, but it was particularly strong this time.
And Mulgrew, in the scene where she is, when it's the memory scene and she's protesting the vaporizing the corpses, I was like, whoa, we ain't seen that from her in a while either.
Well, and she also did like just a very extreme, like you could tell she was someone else, you know?
Yeah. This
Like,
is
this
is
was-
Mulgrew as a not necessarily Janeway character.
Yeah. I think she was definitely the most different in the memories.
Well, because she lacked, like, I think the thing that makes Janeway is her authority, and that she just she's always in control.
Yeah.
Even when she's not, she's very
Especially
good.
when she's not.
Yeah, I mean, she's just very good at playing the authority figure. But in that situation, she's basically powerless and comes off as weak, but not like a morally weak. I mean, she's obviously not, but she comes off as subordinate.
Yeah, she's outgunned.
Which we don't see from her much.
No, you get the sense that even when she was an ensign, she stood her ground.
Yeah.
She killed Tuvix.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like there's a lot of like Vietnam influence here.
I was
running
thinking
in
a
the
lot of,
jungle.
Yeah, a lot of like My Lai.
Well, I was thinking too, like,
the massacre, the big famous massacre. Shit, am I making an ass of myself?
I mean, honestly, I don't think any of us remember, so you're not a bigger ass than we are.
Yeah, but this is the exact thing. Why, like this? If I forget the name of the
we need a memorial for this, Jake. You need to experience it yourself.
Oh, I mean, let's be honest though. That's really where the failing is. Like, raise your hand.
The My Lai massacre was basically what I was thinking of this whole time.
Raise your hand if any of your history classes covered Vietnam.
Me. But that was in college.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I should have before college, like high school.
Before college.
I actually, my 8th grade social studies, / history teacher was a Vietnam vet. So we covered Vietnam. In fact, he was a Vietnam vet who was also like an amateur photographer when he was in Vietnam.
Oh gosh.
And
how many pictures of bloody stumps did he take?
He showed us his slides. And
my God.
Did you give consent?
I think we did. Yeah, I think we actually. Not only did we have he basically said
had to
listen,
okay
you're gonna see dead bodies.
Oh boy,
and this is 8th grade, man. This is
my 8th grade would never do this. So
I mean, no 8th grade would do this today. I'm sure it would need parental thing. But he's basically like, there's gonna be dead bodies in these slides. So if you're not comfortable seeing that, then you're excused to go to study hall, go to the library or whatever. And there were corpses in 8th grade
that this guy knew, that this guy was in the presence of.
Yes.
Wow.
And it wasn't clear, and he wouldn't say if he created the corpses or if he found the corpses.
Yeesh.
Damn.
He definitely made the corpses.
Yeah.
I feel like if you didn't, you would be like, oh, no, this wasn't me.
Yeah. I feel like no public school would do that today.
No.
I'm shocked that they did it. I mean, this is, I don't even know how long ago now. Jesus, 25 years ago? I don't know, 2000 or 1998 probably.
Might have been on the DL.
Yeah, it might have been, but it feels really weird. And we used to, I mean, obviously as kids we were, that was serious, but we still probably didn't take it as seriously as we could have.
Yeah, it's But yes, there is a tendency to not even bother trying to teach history in the normal way, much less crazy, invasive psychic way. Because, I mean, I remember when, like, fucking, it was the 2004 presidential election, people being like, oh, John Kerry protested the Vietnam War. It's like, I'm sorry, have we decided Vietnam was good now?
Right.
And I guess we did, apparently.
Because there was that whole fucking, you got to support the troops, you got to support the troops.
I know.
And if you didn't, and somehow, I fucking hate the government sometimes and how propaganda, well, most of the time, and how propaganda gets born. Because, you know, like post 9/11, there was this whole support the troops, our national heroes, the police, the firefighters, and the troops. And then, like, somehow any criticism of the war became
criticism of the troops.
It was like, oh, what do you mean you don't think we should be invading Iraq? You don't support the troops?
Yeah,
you want
I
the
love
troops
that.
to die?
It's like,
yeah, I support the troops coming the fuck home.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
really supported the troops, you wouldn't send them to fucking die in a desert for no reason.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. It's like, I want them to not get shot, but I'm very confused.
Whoa, guys, jury's still out. There could still be weapons there. We don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking so stupid.
Remember the fucking, man, now I'm just like remembering how bullshit things used to be. I mean, and still are, but just different bullshits for different times. And
our adulthood has just been one bullshit after another.
Well, do you remember the magnetic ribbons that people like put on their cars?
The yellow ribbons that people put on their cars.
Support our troops.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
that's the first thing I thought of when you said it.
The fact that they were like, I always thought it was hilarious that the ribbons were magnetic.
Because you could take them off as soon as you were ready.
Yeah, they knew. Ooh, people aren't going to want this stuck to their cars forever.
Well, more like, to be fair, it could also have been like, people will be more likely to put this on their car if it's not going to ruin their resale value by being sticky.
Maybe. Someone put one of those on my car once, and I don't even know how long it was there, because I didn't, I never like walked behind my car, I guess, and to notice it. And then one day I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, God, the fuck shit.
People think I support the troops now.
So then a bunch of people had to watch you angrily rip it off your car and throw it on the ground, and they were like, wow, what's that guy's problem?
Was that an episode of Curb? I feel like that would be an episode of Curb.
That'd be a good episode of
Curb.
Curb.
Like a Curb episode.
It would. All right,
well, there was an episode where Larry, like Susie, or I think it was, like Sammy had a boyfriend or something that was a veteran. So like they're introducing him to Larry, and everyone, or like they're introducing to a bunch of people, and everyone's like, "Oh, thank you for your service." And then Larry doesn't say it, and they're all just waiting for him to say "thank you for your service." And then of course later, like Susie's like, "You fucking asshole! You didn't say that. You didn't thank him for his service,
Larry. You bald fuck."
Isn't there a Seinfeld where like Kramer gives to an AIDS thing but doesn't want to wear the ribbon, and that causes him trouble?
He's in a walk. And he gets harassed for not wearing the ribbon.
I feel like I read an article or saw a video or something about someone saying how they actually find it really distasteful to be told thank you for your service.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen things like that too.
It's so fucking performative.
It's like, hey, you survived. Good job.
And that's exactly it. It's like, wow, thanks for doing the shit I wouldn't do. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's anyway, like thank you for your service is the same as like thoughts and prayers when a politician says it after a tragedy.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like a reflex. It's a reflex response. No meaning.
Speaking of reflexes, you need good reflexes to do Tsunkatse.
Tsunkatse sounds delicious.
It does.
Is Tsunkatse a real word, Ames?
I don't know. Oh. I assume not, because I assume it's just for this planet.
I mean, no. I think they're just let's have something that sounds vaguely Japanese for this martial art,
Well, they succeeded, because it does sound at least vaguely Japanese.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in Tsunkatse, so the Voyager crew is on shore leave, and everybody's doing fun stuff, and except for Seven and Tuvok.
They're like me. They're anti-fun.
I don't remember what they were going to do, though. Were they just going to go, like, check out, like, a wormhole? I don't really know. There was
a micro nebula or something.
There you go. That sounds right. So they take a shuttle, and they're like, all right, we're going to the micro nebula. And they do, and while they're on their way, they are transported out of their vehicle, and they're taken by Jeffrey Combs.
Yay!
Who is a weird-looking catfish mustached.
Oh, that mustache is so
fella.
gross.
Yeah, I
That's
hated
the
it. I was
second
like, that's
grossest mustache
disgusting.
in Star Trek.
Oh, God, Lazarus and his gravy beard. Luxuriant. But it turns out that our man Wei-Yun, what's his real name in this?
Pank.
Do we have Pank?
Pank.
That's my favorite color. I love the color pink. So Pank is a real Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Except that instead of hiring people for
But hotter.
shitty wages and, suggesting that they use steroids, he just kidnaps your ass and then makes you fight to the death. But still like Vince McMahon somehow. Anyway, he
Still
runs...
somehow better than Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
weirdly.
right?
Yes, true. So he's running the Galaxy Wrestling Federation, and he has people fight in a ring, and then they send it out into the airwaves. I guess this could also be the TV episode, because Tom's got a TV, and now these people have TVs. I don't think they really know that they have TVs, though, because it doesn't sort of have that feel like Chris had said we were watching it. Anyway, it's like a live wrestling event, but it's this Tsunkatse, which is like a martial art, and they get Tuvok and Seven. Tuvok has gotten like fucking radiation burns out the ass, and they're like, well, we're gonna throw him in a fight, and we'll see how he does. Seven steps up and is like, no, I'll fight in his stead, and she does. She fights against The Rock.
Yes.
And he beats her because she is hesitating to do him real damage because she's in touch with her human side now, guys, which is great. But then she starts talking with, what is it, a Telosian? Who is he?
Herodian.
No,
A what?
Herodian.
Herodian.
Herodian. Sorry, I was sort of close.
Telosians are the big head psychic
From the cage.
From the cage.
Oh, wow. I finally remembered their name. It's just not who they are. So she starts talking to a Herodian who's there, who's also a fighter, and he's our friend. I don't remember his name, but
J.G.
the guy that plays
Hertzler.
that guy who plays Martok, which is sick.
Martok.
And he's like, I'm going to train you how to not be a bitch because Pank wants her to do a to the death fight with this champion who, I'm sorry, no, The Rock was the champion. She wants him to fight the
Next guy.
What do they actually say about him, though? Isn't there like a big deal surrounding him?
I mean, it's just basically Martok just says, "Oh, I know who your next opponent is, and he's a badass."
Oh, okay, yeah, because, spoiler alert, he is the next challenger. But it turns out he kind of wants to die. He kind of goes a little Klingon and is like, I want you to kill me in glorious battle. I mean, I want you to give me a death my son would be proud of.
Today is a good day to get killed playing martial arts against my will.
To get dead. Meanwhile, the crew of the Voyager is like, woo, Tsunkatse, we love barbaric violence. This is wicked cool. But then they see Seven and they're like, what? So they're now trying, obviously, to get Seven back. That's how we find out that it's all just a projection and not a live event. They're concocting a way to get her back. I don't really remember how exactly they actually do get them back.
They shoot the shit out of his ship. And...
Oh, yeah, that's right. They blow out some of the satellites. They get Tuvok first, though, and he tells them what's going on. And then they're able to get Seven, and they also pull up the Herodian. And they tell him they'll send him on his way back to his people, which is nice.
He didn't have to get dead after all.
Yeah, but all the other people
Seven
that are
was
still
about-
prisoners are on their
Oh
own.
no, The
Yeah, fuck
Rock!
It's like, there was a very controversial Penny Arcade cartoon back in the day about, like, when you're doing, like, rescue missions where it's like, all right, well, make sure to free, 6 slaves from the horrible death mines. And they did that. They fulfilled their quest and were like, well, fuck the rest of these guys. We wouldn't have even saved the Herodian if we could have not.
Yeah.
That's true. They
Yeah,
only
right.
wanted 7.
But I guess the reason why this is so, like, important, though, is because Seven is about to kill that motherfucker. She is, like, ready to kill the Herodian so that she will not die. And thankfully, she stopped in the nick of time from doing that, but now it becomes a question of, like, her humanity and has she lost it by, like, giving into that and etc.
Yeah,
So-
would you have killed me? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
So Jake, Tell Chris and Caitlin the stupid thing we did yesterday.
Oh, God.
Did you go to a wrestling show?
Well, okay, no, almost, basically. All right, so one of the big things about this episode, and why a reason I think this episode might get kind of a bad rap is that it's a blatant WWF tie-in episode.
Oh, 110%.
And that, that's why they have The Rock, and that's why there's a lot of action. And I think also that's why it's written in kind of the way it is, because it's designed to appeal more to a broader audience, I think, than your typical
people who want to see The Rock might watch this episode. Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, it's got The Rock. So Ames found out that there's a show. I mean, we've seen ads for the show. There's a show on NBC currently called Little Rock.
Young Rock.
Young Rock.
I've seen not like trailers, but I've seen
Little
like
Rock
print ads for lack
Little
of a better
Rock would be
term.
better.
Yeah. It's just a static shot of Little Rock, Arkansas played for
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
for a half hour would be a more entertaining time. Yeah, so evidently this Little Rock, Young Rock is about, I guess, a semi autobiographical or biographical comedy about The Rock's origin story.
So
Dwayne
it's
Johnson's origin story, IRL origin story, but told comedically with his goofy family and stuff.
It's Everybody Hates Chris, but it's about The Rock.
It's Everybody Hates Chris, but about The Rock, and with not as much charm.
That
by
goes
a long
without saying.
shot. Because there's an episode about his break into TV acting, into acting outside of wrestling.
Or really, when McMahon and the Paramount execs said, "Hey, we want you to do acting now," and he was like, "Okay."
So so there's an episode that covers this, and Ames found it and we downloaded it through legal means, and it ain't great, but it does have a scene about this episode where they have some other actress playing Jerry Ryan.
Not Jerry Ryan at all.
Not remotely. Doesn't look like her, doesn't talk like her. Just like, okay, we need a blonde actress. One blonde actress, please. And they're doing this scene. So I do not recommend Young Rock. I mean, if you're really into The Rock, maybe
I am shocked
but
that the man that brought us Black Adam brought us a bad TV show.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I mean, it's like in its third season. Apparently it's popular enough.
Yeah, this episode we watched is season 3, episode 11.
That's the thing. I remember when I first heard about it maybe a month or two ago, and I was like, "Oh, is this new?" No, what the fuck? That's kind of, in a way, a great thing about the modern world is like there's stuff that's been around for ages that I've never heard of, and a lot of it I am fine with having not heard of. Like every so often I'm like, oh, this actually could be interesting. And hey, great, there's already 5 seasons. Other times it's like I was happier not knowing.
But anyway, according to the story in the episode, actually it didn't really add any more color to my appreciation of the episode.
I was hoping to see maybe how what The Rock's attitude toward being in this episode was, or any behind the scenes. It sounds like one of the only things that they happened to mention about the behind the scenes was you have to get the lines right, and the lines are hard because you're just name dropping aliens and shit. So hard meh.
But anyway, in this episode in Tsunkatse, I actually thought that this episode was better. It exceeded my expectations, I'll say.
Ditto.
That.
I would say, because I've read, this was this big hyped up thing, and I've read online, a lot of people shit on it for, the obvious WWE stuff and having a very predictable plot, which it does. But I loved Hertzler's scenes. He was great.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing that I'll mention, I know also there's an article I read in, did I write down the name of the magazine? Possibly. Why can't I find it quickly?
Starlog.
No, it was a wrestling magazine.
Oh, no idea
Why the
then.
fuck don't I have it? I'll find it later. It's literally on my card.
Was it just
can't find it.
WWF magazine? Because they had a publication.
Maybe.
And there was also a magazine called
is.
World of Wrestling.
Black Belt magazine.
It doesn't sound at all about wrestling.
There's an article saying it's basically a review saying, wow, the action sequences in this were so unlike other Star Trek episodes in that you actually think they're doing any fighting. There's no Kirk chops, there's no random jumping on things. It's all, it looks like a WWE match.
Yeah, I was wondering if they had like hired the choreographers from WWE or something.
If they did, they should do it more often because it was more interesting than the usual fight scenes we see, which are shit.
Yeah, it was interesting watching them, like use the arena, like climb up the walls to gain leverage and things like that, which I thought was cool.
See, I thought with these, like, again, the fight scenes are usually ludicrous, like Kirk chopping and all that. These ones were still ludicrous, but in an episode 1 lightsaber duel kind of way, where it's like, there's all these pointless flourishes that look cool, but if you stop for a second and think about it, you're like, this is incredibly inefficient fighting.
Yeah, you're wasting a lot of energy.
Like
there are so many flips.
Yep.
I was impressed by the
for
flips.
No reason.
I loved when Seven kicked the Hirogen in the face and he did this like big spin away.
Yeah.
I thought that looked great. I made Chris rewind so we'd watch it. He missed it. And I was like, you gotta rewind, you gotta see it.
It is funny, though, this was like the let's try to get a broader audience thing, but also as a treat, let's have Weyoun and Martok.
Yeah, I feel like they went all out. They
did.
They wanted to stack this episode with talent, and they did.
It's funny, because I've never seen this one, but I knew there was a The Rock episode. I had no idea it also had Weyoun and Martok in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it
had Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey
Combs.
I
keep calling
I shouldn't calling him Weyoun, but I was surprised when I heard JG Hertzer's voice, and I was like, JG.
And I hadn't noticed his name in the opening credits, so I heard his voice, and I was like, oh shit!
Yeah, I turned to Amy, I was like, is that JG? Like, yep.
Yeah, you picked up right away. I thought he was, for the first couple of scenes, I'm like, oh yeah, he's differentiating pretty good. But then by the end, I'm like, no, this is just Martok, and I still love him.
He's just got such a distinctive voice that as an actor that it would be hard for him to not be recognizable, I think.
Well, and especially because they ostensibly just wrote him as a Klingon.
Well, the
I want to die in glorious battle.
The thing I thought was very interesting about this episode is its similarity to By Inferno's Light, the two-parter where Martok and Worf and Bashir and
are
Garrick
forced to
are stuck in the Dominion prison because it's basically the same thing. They're
Fight Club.
Yeah. You know what's also hilarious is that the original title for this episode was Arena. Until someone said, "Wait a minute!" And
Guys?
shortly before starting filming or starting production, they said, "Wait a minute! There's a TOS episode that's a very similar plot, actually." And dang it!
Of all, I know there's been a lot of episodes, and you might forget and almost reuse a title.
Yeah, they almost called it Gamesters of Triskelion. Same episode. Damn it!
You almost called it one of the most famous episodes of your show. Full stop.
Well, infamous, maybe.
It's one thing to go oh, we already had an episode that was this fucking Shakespeare quote. This is Arena. You might as well have tried to call it The Cage or Encounter at Farpoint.
Why didn't they just call it Gladiator or something? It feels like it just was...
Because I'm imagining this would have come out around the same time as Gladiator.
Oh no, Jake's favorite.
So that would have probably not worked.
They sold me queer giraffes.
So on a scale of sleaze, where is this Jeffrey Combs character?
I wanted to ask the same question because I might put this guy at the tippy top right now, even above that dick that wanted to bang Kira. And here's why. The scene, because, he walks in and, he tells Seven, you'll be a great fighter. Tuvok, you'll be a great fighter if you fucking survive. All this thing. People will love watching you die. Weird flex, dude.
Yeah.
You're gonna run out of fighters real quick if you have nothing but death fights.
Yeah, but you just keep stealing them. It's not like,
Yeah, that's true. But then...
one less mouth to feed.
He gets Chakotay up on the view screen, and Chakotay's threatening his ass, and you can just see the eyes go wide on Penk's face, you could be a great fighter. And I'm like, oh wow, he has a big thing for Chakotay now, and this guy's a fucking sleaze.
Yeah, no, he was great. I don't know if this is a good episode, but I had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's what this episode kind of is. Like, you know, you get to watch The Rock do all of his own stunts, because of course he did.
Sure.
No one else did. And you get to see Jeffrey Combs be the hammiest of hams.
Yep.
And Hertzler having a really touching scene about his son. It's like, it's got everything.
Yeah, it's like, it's as far as like gateway drug to normie episodes, it does a pretty good job of also being like fan service for the existing fan base as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I mean Ames I think picked up on it too, that the dialogue was written differently for even our normal characters. Like everybody was
everyone was like cat o'clock. Everyone was like the cattiest bitch, and I loved them.
Yeah.
They were all, chilled out on vacation.
Yeah, just like it was a lot snappier. One thing that surprises me though is, all right, so we know that like martial arts are a thing. You know, we had the boxing episode, and we know that people are into it. But
Ambo
Jutsu, yep. But I don't think that blood sport or like mortal combat is. So I wonder if they didn't know.
They didn't know it was to the death. No, there's no way.
It was to the death? Yeah, because otherwise I can't see like Chakotay, maybe Balana would still go, but I can't picture all the other people still going to, the fight if they knew that these were to the death.
Well, it sounds like only some of them are.
Oh yeah, those are like that's like WrestleMania, you gotta
yeah. It's like
everything else is Monday Night Raw, and then you get to the main event.
Yeah, then once a year they do that briefcase match.
I still don't think they killed anybody at WrestleMania, just so we're clear.
Well, not on purpose.
Oh, fuck, no, don't.
Jesus.
Well, there was that...
Owen Hart.
Yeah, the accident with the wire.
Yeah. Ugh.
It was a wire, right?
Yeah, I think he was supposed to, like, descend from the ceiling, and he did,
something
but...
like the harness failed or something.
Having said
So
that, though, I don't
up.
think, at least not that I know of, I don't think they've ever had any, like, fight stunts go wrong fatally.
I seem to recall that...
I think there was a last week tonight or something where John Oliver was saying, like, Vince McMahon is a monster.
Oh, yeah, no, he sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Like, will make you fight under, like, terrible conditions and does not provide for your, like, health insurance and shit
not
like
at all.
that. Like,
They're officially contractors.
The actual worst. And I think there were a bunch of examples of people who had, like, a lot of problems that I forget if any of them ended up resulting in death, but they were definitely, like, very fucking bad.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of after-the-fact death that was directly related to that. People getting hooked on drugs because of painkiller addiction.
Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Kills himself and his entire family because of, like, extended steroid use.
But I don't know if they ever actually had, like, an in-ring stunt go awry that resulted in death.
Let's see.
I'll see if I can find that episode, because I swear to God there was a last week tonight about it or something.
Oh, yeah, I think it was relatively recent, maybe even. But yeah, no, Vince McMahon is scum of the highest order.
Even in Young Rock, I'm watching, like, the Vince McMahon actor playing the Vince McMahon character. I'm like, you're not horrible enough.
Well, they don't want to get sued for libel.
Yikes.
Because I think even if it's true, it's still technically libel.
But just on the cattiness of the actors, like, I fucking love the scene where it's just Chakotay saying, "Oh yeah, I used to be this great boxer" and all this stuff, and then Kim saying, "Oh well, I played Parisi squares," and then everyone's shocked because Harry Kim playing Parisi squares doesn't make a ton of sense. And then it's just the two of them bitching at each other about which one could kick the other one's ass, and it was just the funniest little thing. I loved it.
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I bet Harry could take Chakotay.
Really?
Because I feel like the thing is, in reality, they're probably in different weight classes.
What was the great line? I wouldn't want to break your clarinetting fingers.
But I just feel like Harry's more nimble and could probably dodge better. Like, I feel like Chakotay is more of a tank, whereas Harry's a DPS.
Cool.
I did have one problem with that scene, though. There's no way his academy nickname could have been the Tattooed Terror, because he didn't have the tattoo yet. So
that's a
either
good
Balana
point.
was just making that up.
That's a good point. Maybe he has other tattoos we don't know about.
That's true. He
Oh
might
no,
have
we've
one
seen
on
his ass. We've seen his ass. Damn it.
Oh, so we know there isn't a Henry Winkler tattoo. No, fuck. It was Henry Winkler had a tattoo of Roy Orbison on his ass.
Wait, what?
In the Waterboy.
Oh, damn it. I was just hoping that was in general.
No, yeah, in the Waterboy, Henry Winkler's character has a tattoo of Roy Orbison on his ass.
I love Henry Winkler.
Yeah, he's great. I assume he used a stunt ass. I don't know. But you do see his ass and the tattoo in the movie.
I hope it's his real ass.
To follow up on our question about people dying in the ring, I can't find anybody else who was a WWE or WWF wrestler who died in the ring. But it happens more than you'd think.
Oh yeah, I'm
There's a
honestly,
bunch that happened in Japan, it looks like.
in a way,
They're
I'm
pretty brutal in Japan, though.
actually kind of shocked it hasn't happened more is the thing, now that I'm thinking on it.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine is a professional wrestler, and he gets injured all the fucking time and says, nope, that's it. That's all the wrestling I'll do. And then he'll come back and he'll start wrestling again. I'm like, dude, you're going to get killed.
Oh, your favorite bit, though. When they're in the big space fight at the end.
Tell us.
Oh, yeah, one of my favorite parts about this episode is when, like, Voyager's attacking and they're like, shoot that thing, take down that, we're gonna get 7, whatever. And Pank. Pank is sitting in his control like, oh no, we just lost half our viewers. Quick, reroute power to satellite 5 and 6. Like, and it's like, they're both fighting their battles, but he's fighting the ratings battle.
His priorities are different. He's like, fuck having shields. We have to get this broadcast out.
Yeah, I just thought it was really funny because they made it still feel like, that sort of battle ready, like all hands on deck shit, but then it was just to keep the TV show a-going.
I don't want to waste my one Borg.
Yeah.
Then don't put her in red matches. Jesus, Pank.
But again, like you said, people really wanted to pay to see a Borg bite it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to have a couple more episodes or a couple more installations of fights that she's alive, and then people can get really excited.
Yeah, you got to build her up to be a real heel. Then you kill her at WrestleMania.
That's why he put her up against the old guy with the old wound that hasn't healed right.
Because they assumed he'd win, or she'd win?
So she'd win, yeah.
Well, I think I get the impression that the Hirogen was a popular fighter too, and
yeah.
Probably, Wei Yun probably just didn't care who won or lost that fight, because either way he was going to keep whoever won that fight was going to be a star at that point.
True.
Big shot.
I was saying it's a shame, that they got rescued, because if they had stayed in the employ of Pank, he would have gotten a lot of good fights out of 7, obviously, because of her strength and dexterity and agility, and he would have gotten one good fight out of Tuvok every 7 years.
Oh God,
but,
Jesus.
Well, actually, Tuvok would have been perfect for those red matches, and it would have made it even more wrestling, because he could just Vulcan neck pinch them, and they'd be like, oh, he killed him, he wins! And then they didn't really kill him, so they can come back another time.
He would have to use the Vulcan death grip in that,
yes.
In that case.
They just keep bringing back the wrestlers with fake mustaches.
Just put him in different masks.
Yeah.
That's fine. Wrestling, So I just, it's not rigged. It's all real.
Yeah, that was the one thing.
Introducing the King of Caliphie, Tuvok.
I wanted way more Tim Russ in this episode, but he spends so much of it either like knocked out or just laying on a bed because he's been burned in the face. And I guess there were some original scenes with Tuvok fighting. And it's unclear if it was in addition to or instead of the 7 fight. But then they decided, the rest of Voyager is all 7 all the time. Fuck the rest of the characters. And I'm here saying, but Tim Ross, I love him.
I love it when he was like, I'm not as bad as I look. It's like, you liar.
You are
you
worse
do
than
look
you look.
pretty bad.
We can see your skull. That's...
Oh, very interestingly, this is the first we see Combs and Hertzler in a scene together. Because even though they've been in Deep Space Nine all this time, they'd never been in a scene together.
No, I guess they wouldn't have.
I was about to be like, but what about in the 50s episode? But that's him and Gul Dukat, and then Hertzler's in the editor's room, or whatever.
He's the not animator, the
artist.
Yeah, the
artist.
Yeah.
Were they both in the final scene in Vix in the background, possibly?
I don't remember.
I know Jeffrey Combs, I think, was in the background somewhere.
Oh yeah, to make up, right?
I know Combs and Biggs are there. I don't know if Hertzler's there.
Okay.
Or none of the Brunt episodes?
Nope.
No.
Huh.
We're more likely to see Wei Yun and Brunt than we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was to say. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this episode, I mean, it wasn't the best, but it also wasn't as bad, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
no,
entertained.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Also, the one thing though that was kind of funny was that a bunch of people were like, "Ugh, you two are gonna go look at a nebula." It's like, have you not met these two? This is how they would spend their
Well,
vacation.
not even-
That's their idea of fun.
It's
Yeah.
also like that's what they do every day on their job. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
get that
now-
it's not fun, but like at the same time, that's literally your job all the time. You
But
are
see,
always doing this.
This time they get to do it without being surrounded by noisy, illogical humans.
I fucking
Yeah.
loved that scene. Like, we haven't spoken for 3 months, 2 weeks, and some number of days.
yeah,
An odd
well,
number
why?
of
Why?
days.
And why is that relevant? Well,
'Cause it's
because
great.
because I'm supposed to make small talk during awkward silences. Bitch, did you find it awkward? Because I didn't.
yeah, no, they're reveling in it. They're like, this is great.
This is the best.
This is so good.
We should do this more often.
But yeah, I got to admit though, if I was a non-Star Trek fan who's like, oh boy, The Rock is going to be in this show, I'd have been pissed.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
barely
he was
in
in
it.
it for 30 seconds.
He's barely in it. He doesn't call anybody a jabroni. He doesn't throw the people's elbow.
I-
Absolute
He did
bullshit.
do the
does
rock
make
bottom.
He also makes his stupid fucking faces.
He
Yeah.
does the people's
Faces.
eyebrow, yes. He did the
Yeah.
eyebrow and made his faces, but
Yeah, and his
there
signature
was no
move.
ring for him to do his wiggly leg over the ring, over
Well, how much of,
over the ropes.
How much of that was in 2000? Like, I don't know the chronology of things because like I know
Fuck
they
if
made
I
a
know.
big deal that he did his signature move, the rock bottom, and then he did the eyebrow.
Oh, yeah, the rock bottom. Oh my god. The rock
Yeah.
bottom is such a lame finisher.
Is it? I don't know what it is.
It's
so.
like it's a one-armed side slam thing. He like would grab you across your chest with his arm and jump and take you both down.
Ah.
He would land on his belly, the opponent would land on their back. I feel like he'd be getting the worst deal.
Yeah.
Belly flopping onto the fucking ring.
Yeah, I think he was seriously in The Mummy Returns more than he was in this, which was a similar, like, The Rock bait and switch.
right.
Yeah.
Where,
Well, this
like,
was
he played
also like a very early acting gig, so I don't
Yeah.
think he could have done more.
And say
No, that's true.
if the one thing I got from young Rock is that he was not an actor. Like he had not developed that skill set yet.
Whereas
Yeah.
now I think he actually is pretty good.
Oh,
I
agreed.
mean, he's good for what he is, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
he
know,
has a very specific character. You call him into play, and he does it well.
I don't expect him to get any Oscars or anything for his acting, but for like fun action comedy schlocky stuff, I think he's perfectly capable.
Exactly.
One more note I have, and that's that I really want to see Torres' stuffed animal, Toby the Targ. I found that endearing, and I want him in the show.
But also, if Seven ever lets B'Elanna know he told her about Toby the Targ, she will murder Tom.
Yes, no more
Yeah.
Tom.
I want to see Toby the Targ and Flutter get together.
In what way?
I don't know.
Yeah,
just-
you know.
No, I mean like I'm imagining that like what is a Klingon children's cartoon? Like it's got to be fucking horribly violent, right? So like
It's probably like any of the 80s cartoons we had, but they're allowed to show blood.
yeah, I was going to say like Toby the Targ meets Flutter and Flutter gets absolutely torn to pieces.
Imagine Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the Foot Clan weren't robots. Just fucking like Tarantino, blood gushes everywhere.
Wait, the Foot Clan were supposed to be robots?
In
They
the cartoon.
establish it in the first episode so that they can use their weapons upon them.
So they
Man,
can kill
I don't
the
remember
shit
much
out
about
of them.
that show.
Similarly, the Ames' favorite subject, the 90s Batman
Oh,
cartoon.
Christ.
Whenever there's like, when there were episodes where he was fighting robots, they would go apeshit on the violence because they were allowed to.
Right.
They even realized there's an episode where he like, somebody's been
Where he
replaced by a
kills
robot.
Captain Clown.
Yeah. Someone's replaced by a robot, but technically Batman doesn't know yet, but still punches him into the bat signal, which would have killed him, robot or no. And like on the audio commentary, they're like,
Oops.
Batman didn't actually know, did he? We did. It's like, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Batman is just so fucking good that he did actually know.
Yeah, he could hear its inner workings whirring while he was kicking its ass.
I feel like that would have been more one of those like, Dad, you killed Zombie Flanders. He was a zombie? Because it was Bullock that he punched into the bat signal. And
Well, to be fair, we all wanted to punch
Yeah.
Bullock into the bat signal.
We all wanted to kill zombie Flanders.
Same.
course.
Yeah, also that.
Okay, last thing from me, and that's that Neelix gets a sunburn, and I
Yeah.
just love that it was such a normal thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you should get a sunburn if you go down on planet without some kind
your
of cream.
sunscreen.
Well, he fell asleep in
On
the
his
sun.
side,
He fell asleep on his
specifically.
side and didn't take his sunscreen injection,
Yep.
which
Well,
that's
what's-
going to be an amazing technology when that comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be all greasy and smelly.
I went
Yeah.
on a cruise when I was 15 with my parents, and there was a guy, it was to the Bahamas, and there was a guy who fell the fuck asleep on the beach.
Oh.
He was so
Uh-oh.
sunburned, it was like he had third-degree burns. He was in a
Oh.
fucking wheelchair the rest of the trip. He just couldn't do
God,
anything. It was
that's horrible.
awful. Yeah. That was all I could think of during this. I was like, oh god, those poor people.
He also got the sunburn like on one side, kind of
Right.
like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters.
Yeah, yeah. The last thing I wanted to mention is among the various aliens that we see watching the Tsunkatse fight, there were at least 2 Voth.
Oh
right
my
there.
god, there were going to be repeated Voth, because I read this is amazing. That 360-degree shot just paneling around the audience until it goes down and you get to watch the Hirogen beating up some guy was one of the most difficult scenes to put together with the VR, because they only had like maybe 24 extras that they kept having to shift to different positions to do that scene. So you're going to see the same guys over and over, like doing the same woo-woo thing like you would see in like a video game of like a hockey game, like a hockey video game.
Like the crowd in the wrestling games.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought I wondered about that because it seemed pretty apparent to me that it was all repeat, but I wasn't sure if, I don't know.
It sure was. And
Sure was.
considering it was like such a quick thing, I even thought to myself, like, wow, they didn't even need it, really.
Yeah.
You could have easily established we are in a ring, doing a ring sport without doing this really costly, time-consuming 360-degree shot.
I have to say, I do actually like the idea of, the conceit that there's this arena that you go to watch the fights, but they're all hologram projections, but it is still a live fight. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting
Cool idea.
I'm going to love the future. I think about this sometimes because, of course, I do. In the future, one day, when there's a hockey game or something, if the refs are holograms, that will be so much easier because like the players run into them all the
Skate
time.
right through them, yeah.
So that they won't affect the play anymore. Because I was watching a game recently where a player like just slams into a linesman, and it's like, oh shit, sorry, you've just affected the play. So thanks, guy.
See, there should be some sort of rule, like when a ref gets hit, he is now part of that team and has to play.
Whip out a stick and go.
Here's the thing, though. We're already at a point where you could have, we have so many cameras on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that there is some kind of computer modeling thing where they could combine the camera feeds to create a fully immersive 3D model of the ice.
So you could always see when you're actually like offsides and shit.
You could just have off-ice refs in VR helmets that are just anywhere on the ice
interesting.
that they want to be.
How would you break up fights? They would end up being to the death if there wasn't a ref involved.
That's when you
They just have like deployable fire hoses.
I was actually thinking something with water, but I was thinking more like because it would freeze them in place.
Oh
No,
God, cool
and-
off.
They just now have bouncers that
All right, Gotham.
they have like just huge bouncer type guys that they can just push a button. They launch onto the not field, the rink. There's like, "Rah!"
Okay, how about if the Zamboni is a transformer and also becomes a bouncer bot? That's what I'm waiting for.
Okay, new hockey. Transforming Zamboni. If you hit the ref, he's part of your team. Like this is we have supercharged it for the 21st century.
Woo!
Malarkey harky.
So Jake found the segue, and then we skated right
Yep.
past it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we
Jake.
did. Yeah,
But it was
skated right past.
it was good stuff. But Jake brings up all the really cool aliens we see in the crowd, and so we've been for the past couple of weeks for our different activities talking about our favorite things TNG. And this week is going to be our favorite aliens from TNG. There's a lot of them. My list is way too long.
So the thing is, like, there were several that sprang to mind immediately, but I realized most of what makes them really compelling was in DS9, but it was TNG that introduced them.
Yeah, like, I almost want to say Cardassians, but it's like, no, I only like the Cardassians.
TNG Cardassians aren't great.
Well, except Madred. We love Madred.
Yeah.
Well, like the Cardassians, like Bajorans, Trills, Ferengi, basically all of them. The only new alien that Star Trek TNG got that was the best, two, I would say.
Are these your list, Caitlin, or are you just naming things?
No, I'm just naming things.
Okay, name some things.
Q and Elorians. Like, every other show kind of took any alien that they introduced and did it better. If they were any good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if they were like a repeated species. Like, I actually think, and these are going to be like a species that isn't on my list, but I want to bring it up because I think TNG starts making the Klingons really good.
Yeah, I was about to say, TNG Klingons are almost a new species, practically.
Because I think the TOS Klingons, looking back on the couple Klingon episodes from TOS, hard meh.
Yeah, they're kind of, they're the Russians. They're not the Klingons yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And even the TOS movie Klingons, they've got the makeup, but they're still not there culturally.
Oh, but you love
make the
Krug.
same argument about Romulans.
Kind of, yeah.
In TNG, they're back.
Krug's great, don't get me wrong. And I think, even though the culture shifts, certain characterizations he definitely laid the groundwork for.
Right.
Yeah, but like if you think about it, what are the traits that we most commonly associate with Klingons?
All from TNG.
They're all from TNG. Like, even just the fact that they're obsessed with, like, honor and glory, that's a TNG thing.
Yeah.
You know? Which is like, if I was to list, like, personality traits of Klingons, those would be the first two. They're obsessed with honor and obsessed with glory.
After just TOS, what would you say those adjectives would be from just the TOS Klingons?
They're villainous.
That's it, yeah.
They're just dickheads.
Generic
bad guy.
With a Fu Manchu.
Yeah.
Handy Cold War metaphor villain.
Yeah. Power hungry, manipulative, exploitive.
Yeah, which are great traits, but they get so much better in TNG.
They get depth. They're less just like, Fu Manchu mustache twirling evil, and they're just, they're depth. There's depth to them. They're interesting.
Yeah, TNG makes the Klingons, just like DS9 makes so many.
Yeah, the Cardassians especially.
Yeah.
I think the Bajorans are already pretty much started in TNG. I think
they start off pretty solid, yeah. We just get so much more of them in DS9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
Rolaren, like, if Worf created the modern Klingon, Rolaren created the Bajorans.
Modern Bajoran.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they arrived more fully formed than
like
the Cardassians or Ferengi.
The Kira character was supposed to just have originally been Ro, and you would have been like, yes, this sounds right.
Yeah, although as I think I've said before, I'm so glad they came up with Kira just because
agreed.
Not also, having a Starfleet connection.
That's what it is. Yeah, you need someone with a perspective that isn't Starfleet to make things more interesting.
Although I still contend that Rolaren in place of Tom Paris would have worked.
Yes, that's true. That would have been good too.
Because it would have even made sense because she could have been in jail just like him.
Oh, I like this.
And she's a former Maquis, just and it would have.
She really loves pickup trucks.
Yep, she loves Yeah, exactly. We could have had all the Tom Paris goodness without the Tom Paris bullshit.
Which TV shows would she watch with Torres on that TV? Still Daffy Duck and the Dinosaur.
She'd watch No, she'd just tell have I told you about the time my father was tortured to death by Cardassians?
That's not a TV show.
Oh,
God, that would have been a. Oh man,
imagine Rolaren and B'Elanna Torres in a relationship competing for who had the most childhood trauma.
I just feel like they're just gonna make each other worse instead of better.
Yeah, I was gonna say they'd be like the saddest relationship.
They would just encourage one another's worst habits.
Yeah, they're just angry all the time.
Yeah.
Combative, miserable.
No, see, they would have been like hugely in love in a really fucked up way that would have been bad for everyone else.
Yeah, when Taurus was doing all those games on the holodeck with safeties off and jumping out of planes and shit, Ro would have been right there with her.
Yeah.
Calling her a coward.
Dive faster.
Don't just turn the safeties off. Turn the danger up.
Yeah.
You have negative safeties.
Oh, so you're you're doing skydiving without a parachute. Yeah, well, your gravity setting is, 1G. You got to do that with like 4G.
If you were really tough, you wouldn't bother with the special suit.
Did my father have a special suit when he was tortured to death by Cardassians?
This is the greatest idea we've ever had.
Yay!
What's our actual thing? Aliens?
Aliens.
I had a hard time thinking of, like, aside from sort of those ones, like, I had, because like with TOS, like, and Voyager, there's just kind of a lot of, oh yeah, they're technically aliens, but they're just people with a wiggle drawn on their forehead.
I mean, yeah, hello, welcome to Star Trek.
No, I know.
Well, my list, I have my list here, and my list, I realize, follows a theme, as they often do. Because mine are...
Is it people you want to bang?
No, they're people that don't look like people very much.
There we go.
Because let's start off, my favorite race introduced in TNG, and thank God, because I love them, the fucking Borg!
The Borgs.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, they're great. They bring a lot of, like, opportunities to Voyager eventually, but also just, like, the idea of this cybernetic race that is a hive mind. They have no morals at all. They think they're just seeking technological and personal perfection. They don't give any shits. They're very fascinating. Continuing in my list, they're all going to be kind of like computer mech people, because my second in my list are the exocomps.
Oh, man, I was going to say the exocomps.
I beat you to it.
Ah, damn.
Just because they're like, that episode that they're in is just a really great, like, exploration of what does it mean to be a sapient being, who deserves to have rights. Just a really great concept for a not at all human race of things. So I wanted to bring the exocomps up. And my last one is another one-off kind of mech, like computer people, the Binars.
Oh, yeah, Binars.
One of very few things that I would say was really great from season 1 is just these computer people that they can speak in their little telepathy thing. They're basically like little mech beings. They're like kind of one with the computer, and I like them.
Yeah, they're fun little weird people.
Yeah. Are you still going to say the exocomps, Jake, or did I ruin them for you?
No, I mean, I just thought like, oh, they're gonna argue with me and say that exocomps aren't a species, but
nope, they totally are.
We've taken the wind out of those sails.
They're not really alien species, though, are they?
Okay, that's fair, but I'm giving them a big pass because the episode kind of proved they were a little bit.
Yeah, but I am rethinking one of the items. I'll give you two because I have to think about my third again. So exocomps are among them. And again, I'm not sure if I'm giving this one just because it's such a great episode or because I actually think they're an interesting species, but I do think they're an interesting species because they're just different. There's a different thing about them. And that is the Temerians.
That's a good one. They were definitely in my short list.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's and obviously they're a great performance.
They're fascinating.
By Paul Winfield does a great job as
Dathan.
I always forget that's Paul Winfield under there.
Yeah, and it's so it's a fantastic episode. But I think just the idea of the Temerians and their way that they communicate, it's one of those rare instances where Star Trek does something to make a species truly alien in the sense that like we can't communicate with these people because of this language barrier. And it's I don't know, because usually whenever we encounter aliens, we're just encountering people with shit on their foreheads and they speak English and we can talk to them. Yeah, and the reason I'm not sure I wanted to go with my third is because of what we talked about before, which is that, yeah, while I really like the species, they weren't really great until later in Deep Space Nine. But I'll say it anyway. I'm going to go with Bajorans.
Oh, good. No, I agree. Because I feel like they get their start in TNG.
They do get their start.
Yeah, I think they undergo the least... I think the Ferengi change.
And the Trill change.
So the Trill
Whereas
entirely
the Bajoran,
change, yeah.
I think, the Bajorans are expanded upon, but not altered.
Yeah, but like when I think about what makes them so interesting, a lot of it is what is developed, is what is added to them in Deep Space. And I think, again, another area where they're not just humans with shit on their face is the religious aspect, because everything that we see of Earth society it's very, it's just a secular society. Religion, if it exists at all, is not part of Starfleet, at least. But the Bajorans, their religion is evidently very, very integrated in their society and in their government, and the Kai has the ear of the head of the ruling council and all that stuff. So I don't know. I just think it's a really interesting contrast with Starfleet and the normal species that we see.
Yeah.
And I think that having a society, a species that has a great shared trauma, like the occupation, and we do get in TNG, so I guess it counts.
Yeah.
Just that, like, they are, Star Trek's supposed to be this utopian idea, and Earth, by all accounts, is a paradise, which may or may not get lost. But and so you don't expect that you would have, or at least when people like Riker are confronted with these people that have had this different society and this fucking shared trauma, and don't understand that, like, yeah, I'm going to wear my earring because it's fucking important to me, because for a long time we couldn't wear our fucking earrings because we were repressed. And then Riker has to be a dick about it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of commentary, obviously, on how, like, the developed world deals with ignoring issues in the rest of the world as it is convenient.
Yeah,
with
and like
the Federation and everything the Federation does with relation to the Cardassians. Like, they fucked so much up with the Cardassians, and so much of DS9 is a direct result of how badly the Federation dropped the ball, because they just didn't want to deal with anything to do with Cardassia. They just wanted it done.
But our treaty, our tenuous treaty.
Yeah, I mean, I know when we were talking about villains last week or the week before, and I mentioned Captain Maxwell.
Oh yeah.
He may have been a villain in the strictest sense, but I think aside from, the killing and destruction of ships, which was obviously villainous and bad, he kind of had a point sometimes,
Don't trust the Cardassian government.
Don't trust the fucking Cardassians, because, and don't just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
At the end of that episode, at the end of The Wounded, where after, it's not The Wounded. What's the one where there's another Badmiral that is trying to get the Enterprise to destroy a Maquis ship?
Was that the Maquis?
It might be the
DS9?
Maquis. I think. Oh, is it DS9?
The Maquis,
Yeah, is that
maybe?
Sisko's friend? The admiral that he goes way back with?
No, I feel like there's definitely a TNG one.
No, there's one where I'm pretty sure this is a TNG episode. There's an episode where.
Is it Preemptive Strike?
Is it Preemptive Strike?
The one where Ro goes undercover and she makes out with Picard?
No.
Dang, I was
This
hoping.
is one where there's fuck. Okay. there's a Badmiral who has a Cardassian virus. He's sick. He's got the sniffles. And he orders, I'm pretty sure it's Picard. He orders Picard to go and find this. It might just be Ensign Ro. I might just be thinking of Ensign Ro.
Oh, the episode
Maybe.
Ensign Ro?
This might be the episode Ensign Ro.
I think you're right. I think you might be right. This is sounding familiar now.
Yeah,
When
And that guy's a corrupt bastard, yes.
He's a corrupt bastard because he wants them to destroy the ship because he's made a deal behind closed doors with the Cardassians to root out the evil Maquis.
Yeah. Man, fucking Eddington was right, man.
Yeah, justice for Eddington.
About Les Mis?
About everything except Les Mis.
Okay.
Did you have an honorable mention, Jay? Because I know you were battling between two, right?
No. I just wasn't sure if that was the one I was gonna. If I didn't say Bajorans, I didn't have a backup. So that's why I said Bajorans.
So I have an honorable mention to start mine off.
Okay.
The weird little microbes that call humans ugly bags
Yes.
of mostly water. Just because that's a great description of us.
That's great.
Are those the things that Wesley made?
No, they find them on a planet when they're terraforming, and
I
it
thought
starts.
that was like a TOS episode. Why did I think that?
Don't know.
They're
Yeah,
very similar.
I just double checked. Wesley made the things that tried to kill that scientist who liked baseball.
But I wasn't sure, because didn't those things also take over data to communicate or something?
Yeah, those are the
maybe.
Stubbs ones.
Oh, yeah, those are the Stubbs ones, but they're not the ugly bags of mostly water.
No, that's
TNG. Yeah. Evolution is the one where Wesley makes the assholes that take over data. Home soil is the one with the ugly bags of mostly water.
Got it.
Yeah. So my actual list, which I'm kind of coming up with on the fly, because I really genuinely had so much trouble coming up with anyone. Got to give it to the Betazoids.
Troy's people?
Maybe
Yes.
all the Betazoids except Troy.
Is it
you just
Betazoids
looking
or
over my
Beta Z? I
shoulder?
always fuck this up.
The people are the Zoids.
Betazoid.
Zed is the place.
Oh, every time. Yeah, the Betazoids, because,
Yeah,
hey...
think Zoidberg is a person,
Oh, there we go.
and Zed is a letter which they append to the end of a planet.
Honestly, that might be what finally does it for me.
Zoidberg. Why not Zoidberg?
Well, the Betazoid, because, they gave us Loxana, and eventually, Suitor.
Suitor, oh my boy! I can't wait to do this for Voyager, because he's going to be my answer for everything.
When they write her a single good episode, Troy's great.
But then she's a Romulan.
Romulan one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna go with the Betazoids.
All right, cool.
Because, fuck it, why not?
And I'll be honest, I feel like every other Betazoid that's not Troy is actually pretty good and interesting most of the time.
Except that half Betazoid asshole. Fuck that guy.
Which half Betazoid asshole?
From the Barzan wormhole episode there. Wasn't he half Betazoid?
What?
He was a scumbag?
There's always a scumbag.
Yeah, but I think he was specifically half Betazoid, right?
I don't remember.
Maybe.
I might
don't
be making
remember.
that up.
I'm specifically thinking of our friend Tam, who went and lived on Tin Man.
Yeah, like he was interesting.
He was full Betazoid.
I forgot he was Betazoid.
He's Betazoid, yeah.
Well, yeah, because he could talk to Tin Man.
Right.
Betazoid powers. There's the guy that's catatonic from
Night Terrors.
Yeah.
Two moons circling.
So yes, Betazoids. What else did I have in mind? Maybe I should just actually say the sand.
Is it Klingons? I bet it's Klingons.
They already existed, though.
But you love Klingons.
I mean, I love
You love
Romulans.
all the Klingon episodes. They're all on your top and bottom threes of
They
seasons.
are great, but I don't know if they count. They already existed for so long.
When did the Remans show up?
Insurrection.
Nemesis.
Nemesis,
No,
rather.
Nemesis,
I
yeah.
always- Nemesis.
Well,
They could
that
count.
is TNG.
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, but they're so goofy.
But you love Goofy.
It's a little
Do
too
love
goofy.
Oh, so Mark Twain.
I was gonna say Mark Twain's a good alien for. I was literally just gonna say that, Ames. Why is everyone reading my mind? Are you guys Betazoid?
How about the Sonar?
If you want to say
God.
Klingons, I would allow it because they're so different than in TOS.
Yeah, they basically reinvent them for TNG.
Like, I would
do.
say Cardassians for Deep Space Nine, but not for TNG. So.
Yeah. I'm going with the Betazoids. I mean, I guess, the Q.
Cool.
Are you just gonna list my whole list?
No. I mean, I don't know, because I don't know what your list is, but...
God damn it.
And... Oh, actually, yeah. I don't know if we ever found out his species name, but, Commander McDuff's people.
Oh, those
Oh.
people.
Because they're some shady fuckers. What a tricksky little prick way to fight a war.
Yeah, those guys. Fuck them.
I don't know if they get a name. I will
Let
look
me
it up
look-
while Caitlin
Well,
talks.
I was going to look it up myself, but the race is on.
Oh yeah, that guy. Okay.
Sataran.
Got it.
Well, I'm gonna switch things up a little bit since you stole
Whoa.
one of my things.
We're allowed to overlap.
I know. Definitely Bajorans.
Yay.
Rolaren's a bad bitch. Kira's my fave. I know that Kira's not in TNG, but she wouldn't be in Deep Space Nine if we didn't have Rolaren in Deep TNG.
There you
so
go.
She counts. I was also going to say Betazoid, and I'm still going to, because
Good choice.
my girl Waxana fucking rocks. And like you said, they're all kind of great. It's just Troy who's not always great, and even she has moments. And to round out the Bs, to alliterate the fuck out of this, I'm going to say the Benzites.
Yes! I'm glad someone said the Benzites. Because they were on my short list as well, and they're super fun.
They're great.
Their makeup might be among my favorite makeup of all the aliens.
We get it, you vape.
Yeah, I like their costumes. I like their character, and I like that, like, we get the first Benzite who's ever in, Starfleet. That's fun.
I love the Benzite that when Wesley mistakes him for a different Benzite, he's like, what, do we all look the same to you people?
Yeah.
And Wesley's like, yeah?
Well,
I mean, it's literally the same mask.
yeah. I think he
he's
even
like,
said,
are
like,
you guys not a clone race? Fuck.
he was like, yeah, we're from the same spawning pod, and so naturally we look similar. I actually have thought of a good honorable mention I want to throw out there, and that's the crystalline entity.
Oh, good. That's a good one.
Because I think it's just a destructive thing, but it's also just like an animal.
Yeah.
It's just
Is that the jellyfish?
No. That's it. Look, it's a giant space snowflake that.
Oh, right.
That kills Riker's girlfriend.
that kills anything and everything in its path.
Especially Riker's girlfriend.
It eats biomatter, and it's just an animal doing what it does naturally. Except what it does naturally destroys life. And I think, there's in the episode with what's her face? Can't remember her name. But the episode was Silicon Avatar. And the lady was the mother of one of the kids one of the colonists who died.
Oh, and Data had
his memory.
Yeah.
And like she ends up, spoiler alert, she ends up killing the crystalline entity, destroying it with harmonics at the end of that episode. And a
lot of Bob Dylan.
And like the guilt trip that Data lays on her.
Your son would hate that you did that. Oh my God.
She's like, I did it for you. Well, he thinks you suck now.
I have an dishonorable mention.
Can I do another honorable mention first?
Is it Pac-Leds?
Nope.
I thought of the Pac-Leds too.
Don't think about the Pac-Leds.
I think we should probably consider Sung-style androids.
Yeah.
I considered saying that.
Because, he's Data's great. Lore sucks, but we love to hate him.
Yeah. I love that Lore exists.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Before sure is.
We'll see.
Juliana Tainer.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, she's the most advanced.
We'll see what we think about this when we get to Lore in Picard.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
We'll see.
Dishonorable mention though to the Kalon. Those short-sighted fucks.
Which
Half
one?
a life.
Oh, those guys.
Yeah.
Fuck those jerks.
I actually have a dishonorable mention.
I love Dr. Mash. Can't think of his name. Timison. He's great.
Dr. Mash.
His species are asses.
Yeah, like Soren's species are asses too.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. That's exactly who I was going to mention was
monsters.
They're the Janai.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Like fuck those guys too.
Fuck the Janai.
Okay, dishonorable mention for the Edo.
Yeah. That's what see, we should have had a whole separate blogtivity.
Yeah.
The technically not villain races that were assholes.
Well, we could still do that.
We just did.
Yeah.
A couple more actual shout-outs. Caitlin just brought up Space Jellyfish, I think is a great example.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I loved them.
What about Pup? Was Pup TNG or
Pup
DS9?
is DS9.
DS9.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, is Pup a life form or a computer virus?
Both.
Yeah, why not both?
Yeah, and I think I have a clump of 3 that would be kind of their own little kind of sub-list of the Malkorians from the episode First Contact,
Yeah.
the Catan people from Inner Light, and the Barconians from Thine Own Self, because they're all kind of like earlier in development little societies, but that we kind of love them because they're learning so well.
Well, what about the Mentakans? I'd throw on that list as well.
I'd put them on that kind of list too. That's a good point. But I like these people better.
Yeah.
Sorry. What about sentient holograms?
I thought of that
Moriarty.
too.
Yeah, exactly like Moriarty.
Yeah. I don't know what species you'd call him if you just say
Holograms, yeah.
hologram, but like I feel like,
Like Vic.
that's so broad. I feel like Vic and Moriarty and the Doctor are kind of like their own separate category of holograms.
Dude,
Yeah.
the fucking Doctor made life. He's definitely something.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so strange.
I
Doc,
still see you,
you're a
Doctor.
weird fucker.
Yeah, because there's definitely something different about them than there is about, you know, rando background character in the holodeck.
Yeah.
Because if there isn't, then man, we're fucking monsters.
Yes. Yes. But that's the thing.
Like,
Man.
imagine the fucking war crimes against humanity trials that will happen when it's determined that all characters in holodecks are actually sentient life forms.
Oh god, O'Brien and Bashir are fucked.
It's because you're charged not just for every individual hologram you kill, you're charged for every time you kill that same hologram.
Yep. Truly, the worst species of all is man.
I was going to say
Yes.
that the worst species of all is Mario for killing all the Goombas. Oh, well, I got to go kill some Goombas, guys, so we're going to start getting out of here.
Is that a euphemism for taking a dump?
Oh, well, if it is, I killed some Goombas before this recording, if you know what I mean.
Based on their shape and
Jesus.
color, I'd say more killing Goombas is eating a handful of Hershey Kisses.
Good, I like that better. I'm going to go do that. I'm also going to, follow along on our Tumblr because all of our examples from our favorite races are on our Tumblr. So if you want to see all these guys and maybe like any other like honorable mentions of great TNG aliens, they're going to be at sshbpodcast.com. You can also be listening to other podcast episodes on the SoundCloud or, the Apple one, the Google one. All the other ones we're in all those places. Make sure you're caught up with all of the rest of the podcast stuff because next week we're adding another one. Next week's episode 300, guys. Holy shit.
Woo.
Woo!
And we haven't planned anything.
Nope, because I didn't want to bother with it.
I was gonna try to, but I can't believe it's already next week, so.
I
Right.
can't believe it's not butter.
So next week, the way that we're celebrating our 300th episode is by covering 2 more episodes of Voyager, don't you know? The episodes we're covering next week are going to be Collective and Spirit Folk. So get ready for that. It's not what you think.
Oh, good.
I was gonna say, what would you recommend for preparing myself? Because that sounds bad.
It's to prepare yourself, I would watch these episodes.
Oh, perfect. Well, I can do that.
And keep and not judge before you watch the episode.
Well, it sounds like it's not gonna be racist Chakotay stuff, so I'm happy.
Cool. What else are we doing? We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're right here, right now. Except no, we're not because we're signing off. Holy shit, this has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
This has been Jake.
And this is Frequently Chris.
And hey guys, did you smell what The Rock was cooking? Did you smell it? It's wafted out now.